Hello guys, welcome back to another replay video. I haven't uploaded one of these in a while because I've been busy recently, so yeah, but this game was too tasty that I had to find time to upload it. So, well, starting off with our box here, well, since it's a new patch, we see minor changes here. I've basically switched out CC White for Helena. So in my box, I've tested out like more extensive changes, but basically at the end of the day, I realized that I don't really miss CC White that much, so I decided to try adding another aggressive DPS. Helena basically counters those non-tank pickers and is also decent against AoE rush, so that's my choice for this box because he doesn't have, he didn't pull for Alicia, which I'm playing on my main account. So that's where we end up with in terms of our box. And meanwhile on Santichai's side, he's playing very heavy tank, very heavy healer kind of AoE box. So start right off with the draft. So first ban Lucretia, nothing strange here if you've watched any of my past videos. But meanwhile, this first ban IBC is a little weird given that his first pick is a Rosen. Because I feel like Rosen, basically she contributes a mobility boost to assassins and the minus troop healing into the tank, which Rosen counters. And in terms of the box in general, it's supposed to be quite anti-assassin because many tanks, many healers, they're mostly assassin proof and then very tanky DPSs with SSM or whatever. Usually that's how this kind of box rolls. So not sure if IBC was valuable enough to first ban, especially for this kind of box. But anyways, moving on, I ban Wetham and Bernhard here and I pick Rosen. So if you look at this box, he basically has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 DPSs. I count Burn as a DPS. So most of these guys get at least half counted by Rosen, so this is definitely a very valuable pick. It's my only healer and I'll be able to cover the rest with DPSs. So Lana's kind of countered. She still does a lot of damage, but if she doesn't proc her minus cooldown too much, it should be okay to deal with. Michelle gets pretty hard countered. Bowser can overwhelm, but you know, he has to do it like, I don't think Bowser can overwhelm with just one DPS, so not to worry about that for now. And yeah, so next up he bans Hilda and Werner and goes ahead to pick Michelle. Hilda is my only magic tank here, so he probably just wants to get that out of the way. Try and reduce my sustain. Werner here is the only one that can securely kill a Michelle, I think, because I think Pepsi without stacks can't do it. Sigma maybe can, but I still need to pick Sigma and then an attack buff on top of it. Both Die Hard doesn't kill it, Cherry doesn't kill it, so yeah, it's a standard pick. Like I said, this kind of box is supposed to counter assassins, and Werner's the strongest kill range assassin right now, so gets that out of the way. I go ahead and ban 2 of the magic tanks, and I pick Wedam here. So, like I mentioned, assassins aren't gonna work against this box, so I decided to get right into it and pick my strongest tank busting DPSs here. And Wedam with his Dispel 5 and Werewolves, or even Gargoyles are okay in terms of, because she has Rosen sustain as backup. They can do pretty sustained damage against the tanks because he only has Ladin and Landius left. Landius takes a lot of damage from Werewolf Wedam, and Ladin is holy, so he doesn't do that well against Wedam either. Next up, he bans Sigma and Elwyn. Elwyn is the probably next hardest hitter against a tank and also has a lot of self-sustain. Sigma is the second assassin that has a chance to kill Michelle because he ignores the phalanx and goes directly through the body, so well, he's banning that now, I guess. Picks Ladin, so he only has 2 tanks left, so he's gonna pick 1, and Ladin buffs Michelle, so yeah, that's his tank of choice. After that, I just ban Lana and Bowser, just getting rid of the rest of the DPSs, and then I pick Lucretia. So out of these remaining picks, it was probably either Ares or Lucretia that has the best damage against a tank. I went for Lucretia because Rosen can buff her, so she doesn't need to bring mass attack, and she has 3 single target attacks that she can bring on top of the minus cooldown utility. So overall, I rated her higher than Ares, so I just, picked her. Here I lose Pepsi and Ares. So like I mentioned, Ares is probably the next best pick because of displacement and dispel tree. And Pepsi, well, I don't know, he's just betting one assassin at a time, I guess. And he goes ahead and picks Landius. Well, a bit odd to pick two tanks here, but given that the rest of his picks are pretty much healers. Well, Marinder is a half healer, half mage, but after picking Marinder, she still needs a Gospel or faction buff to buff her, so I guess doesn't want to draft like that, and he just straight away picks the Landius. Also partially probably because he counters magic damage and I picked Lucretia, so that's that. So I get the last DPS out of the way, I get Elma out of the way as well because I'm gonna pick the Star of the Show Autokrato here, and turns out that the way Elma's reflect debuff works is that even though they have a Rosen that provides immunity, the debuff still gets reflected. And well, I technically have my Rosen here as well, but the other reason that I'm banning Elma is because her Candle reduces magic damage done in like 3 blocks or something, which is annoying if I don't have any assassins and I have a Lucretia, so I don't want that. And here Autokrato gets buffed by Rosen as well, and basically his whole team doesn't really do damage to him. So he's just a solid defensive pick here. Last assassin, and then TJS gets banned and goes for Liana for more consistent act again, also Gospel. Whereas I'm left with Helena and Cherry, and I go ahead and pick Helena because again, it's also buffed by Rosen, so it's a kind of mini Empire team going on here. Even though he has tanks and Rosen, I think Helena still does a decent amount of damage and can, if I don't get to break him completely, at least I can try to win by damage. Whereas Cherry, Cherry's damage probably isn't that bad into a tank, but I don't really want to bring mass attack, yada yada yada. So, Helena just offered me more at the time. And let's get right into the game. So, take a look at these setups first. Landius is bringing the usual stuff with Templar, Michelle 2 AoEs, Scorching Lance. This thing basically has no cooldown if you can hit 3 people. State Guards, it's like offensive Lancer troop because I don't have any assassins. So this would offer her more single target damage, I guess, when her AoEs are on cooldown for some reason. Led in with Fashion Buff and his 3Cs, so it's only one range guard until he uses it. Rosen, Double Heal with Miracle, Liana with a standard set. Fighting Monks, again, the potential to do more damage. Meanwhile, on my side, Lucretia 3 attacks, Autokrato with Sword Dance and 3C with Sword Breath. I didn't even bother bringing guard because I reckon that his DPS probably can't even touch my units in the first place. And now standard kit, Weather with Crush and Annihilation for maximum damage. Werewolves because I'm aiming to kill the Landius this game, not the Ledin. And then Rosen with Monks and Empire buff, and then Mass Crystal Heal and Miracle. So she's gonna run out of heals at some point, but it's okay because I have Lucretia's Puppet. And well, in the first place, he doesn't really do that much damage. Anyway, he only has 1 DPS, which is the Michelle. Yeah. Get right into the game. Given the draft, it's gonna be a boring start. It's mostly just setting up a turn 1. So I mostly just try to take as much space as I am given. Except with my Lucretia, because I'm trying to position so that the Michelle doesn't get the free minus cooldown. And Santichai does his thing of, I have Act again, therefore I click Act again. Trying to get his, trying to give me the turn priority so that his next Act again is better. Yeah, I just push my Autokrato up, there's no damage coming out here. I just try to split around vertically. Drop the Mass Crystal Heal, just, preparing to start the fight. Gospel gets thrown out from Liana here onto the Rosen. Well, I don't really have anything to do, so I just try to fish for a clock, trying to steal buffs, all that good stuff. Didn't get the clock, but, there's no threat anyway, so it's fine. So Helena goes in here, does a Chivalry. I'm basically just trying to run down the stacks here. And then I just run back. So next turn I'm going to, attack properly. It does a single AoE, basically doesn't do anything. Well, Lucretia has 3 attacks. Oops, my animation is on. But yeah, she has 3 attacks, so she can hit pretty freely. She's always gonna have a skill ready. So it's just free damage. Get Tenure Breeze here, doesn't really do much anyways, because he's already here. Miracle gets thrown up because I've already suggested that I am going to go in on the next turn. Ladin gets his 3C out and running, just hooking my Autokrato. But, it doesn't really do much. So, it's a very nice straight line formation he has here. Throughout the sword dance just to steal buffs and move back. Steal another one with sword breath. And now if you're looking at my Autokrato, this guy basically stole his entire team. If you look at his buffs, he stole Landia's aura. He stole Ladin's 3C mobility reduction. And he also stole Liana's 3C. So yeah, every start of the patch, I think Autokrato is gonna get kicked out in favor of more offensive units, but after a week, he always finds his way back into my box. So I don't know when I'm gonna kick him for real, but he still does really obnoxious things. He moves Liana, which is a pretty odd choice, considering that I'm basically ready to attack this turn. Moving your strongest single target healer, probably not the best move. Moves the Ladin back, so well, the Landius is low, see my chance, and I go in to take that 1 life off the Landius, which is pretty much guaranteed at that health. I even get to get a clock, and I get to run back onto the forest. A heal comes up here, which only heals 40%. Follow up with Helena, which actually gets the kill, which was mildly surprising, but I guess Angels still do quite a lot of damage to the Templar Knights, and Helena's leftover damage was probably just barely enough to kill Landius. Yeah, that's 1 unit down on his side, and I'm starting to run down the Rosen stacks, as you can see on the Ladin. Michelle drops a 3C here onto 3 units, including the sword, so he gets reduced cooldown, but as you can see, it doesn't really do much. And I'm immediately able to follow up with a miracle. Heal pretty much everyone back up to full health, get my stacks back. Mash Crystal Healing comes out here. Autokrato has his 3C back. Because from Lucretia's Puppet, -1 cooldown. And I managed to swap the Ladin in next to me. So Ladin's aura is 2 turns cooldown. So basically after this turn, this Ladin cannot move. And he's not guarding anyone. So his whole team is open to my Lucretia and Wetham right now, which clock his annihilation. Michelle resets the puppet, goes for the line skill, which basically doesn't do much. Kills the sword, I guess. But since he's not guarding, my Wetham can just go in for a free 2C, kills his only DPSs. And that's actually going to be the end of the game, because he can't win at this point. So, I've done multiple Autokrato showcases, but this game was too funny to not post. But he stole basically everyone's signature buff, and he basically paralyzed his tank at the end of the game. So, yeah. So it's just a nice game in general to watch. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.